Guys, welcome back to Spending Time with Gregory. This is Friday Evening Focus. And on Friday Evening Focus, we talk about real serious topics. And tonight we're going to jump right into Walls of Reflections, My Prison Experience, Part 3. We have a Part 1, we have a Part 2, and we're going to jump right into Part 3. And where I left off the last time was I was talking about my visit to the classification officer. And what the classification officer does is he tells you your custody level, which may be there's maximum, there's minimum, there's medium, and there's community. And a lot of times your custody level depends on, what your permanent location will be in prison. So my level of custody was, at the time, it was community. So I had like a low level of custody coming into prison. So the classification officer let me know that at some point I'm going to be going to a camp. They didn't really tell me what camp I was going to go to, but they said that I would be leaving Miami, the reception center, going to another prison. And I didn't know what day I was going to leave. I didn't know where I was going to go, but I knew at some point I was going to be leaving. Now, you would hear talk from other inmates. If you leave on this day, you're going to the Panhandle. If you leave on this day, you're going to Central Florida. If you leave on this day, you're going to the East Coast of Florida. And a lot of, they really didn't know where you were going. They were just kind of like, talking. And you get a lot of that in prison. But I have a quick disclaimer. In order for me to go to prison, I had to commit a crime. So if I don't pick up a drug or a drink, I don't commit a crime at all. Me going to prison was the direct result of me using drugs and alcohol. And so back to going to a permanent location. Now, about 2 weeks into my sentence, I woke up early in the morning, probably about 3 in the morning, telling me, pack your stuff. Inmate Kemp, you're addressed as inmate. Pack your stuff, Inmate Kemp, dress in all blues. And that's your, blue uniform. Dress in blues, all your blues. And packed all my stuff. And I think it might have been like maybe that morning, maybe 15 other guys who had to pack their stuff. Now, every guy wasn't going to the same location. There were different locations. Now, some people go all the way to the Panhandle. Some people go to work release. Some people go, to a camp right in the area. Some people go to the East Coast. You don't know. So when you get on that van, the bus, it's a bus. And inside the bus, let me give you're shackled from your hands around your waist and down to your ankles. So everybody's shackled on the bus. Bus leaves out, and there's windows, but you can't really see out of the windows. So you're like riding. You're assuming what highway you're on. You look like you're on the Florida Turnpike. Look like you're on I-95. Look like you're on some back road somewhere. But you're shackled and you're riding this vehicle. So the bus starts to stop at different facilities. Now, once they stop at the different facilities, you know where you're stopping at. Some vans stop at like the first stop we did. I remember we stopped in an area. We stopped in West Palm Beach. We stopped at a work release center, and the officer would come on and say, "Hey, say your DC number, ask you your DC number, and ask you, step off the bus. So that person steps off the bus. Now, where I was stopped, my first stop, prison stop, my permanent camp was a place called Moorhaven. It's in Moorhaven, Florida. It's like on the going on the east coast of Florida, but it was a private prison. And I was leaving like a state-ran prison to a private prison, which was, my first, I guess because my custody was community, they sent me to that prison because it was like a low maintenance type prison where at the time, you didn't really have any like real hardcore prisoners there at the time. So we get to the prison, I get off, and go through the same process. If you go back and look at Walls of Reflection, part 1, you get off, you stand in this cage, you get butt naked, they make you take off all your clothes, check you, and then they have they give you new clothing to wear, they give you bedding. Now at this prison, everything was indoors. Everything was indoors. You everything. And when I mean by indoors, there was dorms. You lived in dorms, and if you had to go to the doctor, or if you had to go to dental, or if you had to go to the kitchen, well, they brought all the meals to us, so you didn't have to go to a kitchen. But any like appointments you may have, it was all indoors. So you would be walking around like you were in like an indoor compound. You didn't have to go outside the prison to go to, say, what they call a call out. A call out is when they put your name on the list. They put your name on this list, and you have to be at that position, be at that place during the day. Like you could have a call out to the dental. And you look on the list, and you see your name. It says inmate Kemp, DC number, and it has call out to the dental. So, and that's where you would need to be at that certain time. So you would leave out the dorm and you would go to that call out. Everything was indoors, so you didn't have to go at this private prison. Now, my job at the private prison was a kitchen worker. I was a kitchen worker. I worked in the kitchen, and I would go to the kitchen every morning and and prepare breakfast and lunch for the compound. I think I'm going to stop right there, and we'll go on to Walls of Reflection, part 4. Thank you guys for spending time with Gregory. You guys have a nice day. See you on the next video.